Hello to all of you from around the world. I want to welcome you back to another great edition of Soulivity today. Again, we're broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Brian Westley Johnson, and again, we have such an amazing show for you today. So, of course, I am glad that you're here. Today, we're joined by senior Soulivity contributor, Dr. Chanel DeGuzman. Hello to you, Chanel.
Good morning, Brian.
And we're also joined by Sheila Applegate, host of Consciously Awesome Living. Hello, Sheila.
Hello there. I'm glad to be back
Hey,
with Dr.
hey.
Chanel, too.
I know we got the group back together on a Thursday. I love it. I love it. I love it. Lots has been happening in the world, and probably in each of your lives. Since Chanel, we've been missing you for a couple of weeks. What have you been up to, girl?
Yes, Brian and Sheila, it's so good to hear your voice again. So I've been doing a couple conferences. So conferencing, I have been doing RFPing. So I was sharing with Brian, I submitted a a sizable RFP on equity-centered training. So that was exciting. And then my son and my husband's birthday was on Monday, this past Monday. So as Brian reminded me, I have double Scorpios, which
Scorpio.
means a little something. The fact is that my husband prayed for his son to be born on his birthday. My son was due a week later on November 7th, and Gary prayed for him to be born on October 30th, and God gave him his wish. So I may have shared that, but yeah, so it's a big day in our lives.
I'm trying to remember if you told me that or not. That's pretty doggone cool.
That
That's
cool.
somebody having big favor with God.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you just let that go. Like, okay, God, you got the will on this one.
Sheila,
Sheila,
Dr. Chanel,
yeah, go ahead.
My kid's dad always said, everybody prays for healthy babies. I prayed for good-looking babies.
Well, you got your wish. You got your wish too.
Isn't that it's just a blessing. Oh my gosh.
Well, I have just been mainly taking care of myself and getting over this, whatever this thing is.
Yes.
Yes. It always lasts a little longer than I want. But that's all about me taking care of myself, and relates to what our topic is for today, right?
Yes.
But before I get into that, I was just telling you guys offline about, and I want to share this with our audience, that there is this study that I found that's called a self-love index, and it's a first of its kind study that measured self-worth, well-being, happiness, and revealed how age, gender, country, and living standards impact how people feel about themselves. I thought this was really, 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 really interesting, because the results, guys, were pretty startling. The report launched by The Body Shop identified a self-love crisis for women around the world, specifically women, with 1 in 2 women feeling more self-doubt than self-love, and 60% wishing that they had more respect for themselves. I mean, that's pretty disheartening, right? I mean, have you guys found any of this kind of information to be true with some of your interactions with women?
Well, I can tell you, Brian.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Dr. Chanel.
Go ahead. We'll go in order, Chanel.
I mean, our society, is not very conducive for self-respect of women. I mean, our society doesn't respect women, so I think that the self-respect comes next, right? So
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
seems, but yeah.
What about you,
Yeah,
Sheila?
I was gonna say, I mean, this is not surprising. And the only thing that's surprising to me is how well we as women cover it up. I mean, that's what I do in my
Mm.
coaching is try to start the self-acceptance of, not loving yourself, not fully, respecting yourself, but really how it comes out, Brian, is in that terms of fear, doubt, and anxiety, and it gets masked by being busy with achievement and elevation and always striving for that next best thing versus truly settling into the self-love and the self-acceptance. So I know we're going to unpack all of that, but yeah, I totally see that in my practice.
Wow. Wow. Well, one of the things that we strive to do here at Soulivity is kind of like produce content that speaks to the needs of everyone. And in this case, there's a really special editorial that we put together called How to Love Yourself More, where we give, a few ways of starting the process of loving yourself more deeply. And so I thought today that that'd be a great way for us to start, right? Um, I think that it's never that you can never have enough time where you're spending loving yourself and cultivating that love and sharing that love with other people. So I thought there would be a nice way for us to have a conversation on a Thursday with both of you. So, I guess my first question to both of you is, what do you think about that? What do you think about just generally this sense of cultivating self-love and its importance in our lives? And then Sheila, I'll go to you, and then Chanel, I'll go to you after that.
So, you know me and nuances, and just as
Yeah.
we talk about joy being a vibration, a frequency, I feel the same about love, and that love is a frequency that's always available to us, and that to really have self-love means to connect to that source, right? And to let that love
Hmm.
through us. So I just need to clarify that before we move on to
Right.
stay in alignment with what I talk about. And in doing that, I also think that, there are certain behaviors, certain things that we can do to nurture ourselves, to like ourselves more. And therefore, that helps us to bring that love in. So, and we can call that love as well. So I think that it's a wonderful idea and really important for people to cultivate that, to get to know themselves, to find out what they like, and to find out what nurtures us in order to make that connection deeper, because we're more able to love other people when we are in tune with that love for ourselves.
Okay. Wow, I love that. I love that. Dr.
Love
Chanel,
that.
what about you?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Sheila. I subscribe to the notion that for me, love radiates in 360 degrees around me. So wherever I am radiating love. So you talk about that energy, it is very
Mm.
real for me. And I think us attending to loving ourselves, it swells up in terms of your well-being, in terms of like your inner joy, your inner peace, and then your ability to connect with others in loving relationships just fuels your overall well-being, happiness, joy, love, peace, and goodness. So I'm a staunch proponent of loving yourself, as I shared with you all before we got on the air. The one thing, Brian, that I think gets in the way, a major barrier, and I know we're going to unpack all of this, but is just feeling worthy of loving, of being lovable, right?
Yeah.
And whatever
Mm.
those barriers that have gotten in the way that are preventing people from unpacking that so they can have a free spirit to love themselves is something that I think we definitely need to continue to unpack and find answers to. And that's really going deeper and deeper within, deeper and deeper within.
Thank you both for what you're sharing. When I'm thinking about self-love, just more broadly, I think when we ask the question, hey, do you love yourself? I think most people's knee-jerk reaction to that is, of course, to always say, of course I love myself, right? Because saying that you don't love yourself creates a quote unquote problem, right? And I mean this in more of an intellectual sense, like how do I want people to perceive me, right? And then that's as far as it goes sometimes. I know I've learned in my own life, having done that myself, right? Where I'm like, of course I love myself, right? I don't want people to think that I don't love myself. That loving yourself is not more of answering a question than it is a practice. Like you're doing things on an ongoing basis to give yourself the love that it needs, the love, the nurturing support, the respect, all those things that that are part of living and then thriving. And so I just want to let people know that this is just from my perspective, that self-love it's something that you are, but it's something that you are through practice, right? Through doing things on an ongoing basis that encompass that thing, right? So, Sheila and Chanel, we talk about joy, right? We have Helena comes on and she talks about, injecting joy into your life. Well, guess what? By doing the practice of joy, guess what that adds up to? Self-love, right? So that's one way of doing that. And so as we're talking today, especially with both of you, because I'm loving the fact that specifically both of you are here to talk about this. Just keep that in mind, that you just can't say that you love yourself. You actually, love is a verb. You actually have to practice and take action to love yourself, right? It's not a bumper sticker.
Absolutely. No, it is not, Brian. And if you just look at the evidence in your life, look at the outer reflection of, what you value, where you spend your time, who you spend your
Yeah.
time with. I mean,
Yep.
you'll see if it adds up to self-love, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I believe, I don't know if this is obvious for everybody, but yeah, how you feel on the inside is reflected on the outside. So if we need evidence, we can look to some of those outside indicators, and not based on societal, like what you're saying, Sheila. Yeah, in general, society doesn't, they value men over women, right? And there's a level of disrespect that is built into our society. And so we're not trying to compare ourselves, just like the article says, but
Yeah.
we are really trying to find out what we value, and do our values and behaviors line up to how we feel about ourselves on the inside, i.e., self-love.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Listen, we're going to take a quick break, everybody. We got more on this topic and self-love coming up right after our commercial break, because we got to get a couple of these in. But we're glad you're here because we want to get some input from you as well. So we'll be back with more of Soulivity today in just a second. Hi there. This is Brian with Soulivity.com. I want to share some exciting news about our new Aspire Academy by Soulivity. Now, you probably want to know what the Aspire Academy by Soulivity is. Well, it exclusively connects you with people around the globe and who share the intense desire to improve themselves and create a better life for themselves today. There's classes, there's workshops, there's live events, and even more exclusively just for you. You see, I wanted you to have a safe space where you could grow, you can learn, and it would empower you in all aspects of your life, including your mind, your body, and your soul. So how do you get started? Well, it is so easy. First of all, the best part, joining Aspire Academy is absolutely free. Just click on the Join Now button, sign up, and begin your journey. as a special part of this invitation to you, there are some free courses that are available for you to try from our amazing roster of coaches and collaborators. It's our way of saying thank you for all of your support and being with us along our journey of expansion. I hope you enjoyed the Aspire Academy by Soulivity today. Start the process. Learn more about your passion, your purpose, and how to live a higher quality life. Hey, we are back with more here on Soulivity today. Again, we are talking about how you can take some steps to learn how we can all learn to love ourselves more. And of course, back with us are Sheila and Dr. Chanel. We're talking about this wonderful topic today. Chanel, you just talked about in the last segment about something that's important that's within the article itself. And we're talking about the fact that a lot of times we compare ourselves to other people. You know, the whole keeping up with the Joneses and how all this stuff on the outside, the way that it's supposed to look. And if what we have doesn't match what someone else has, or if our energy and all that doesn't match the way that this person over here, you know, how they show up, then we're less than, right?
Mm-hmm.
What say you about that?
Well, I think from a foundational standpoint, when we don't have our firm values, our firm sense of self in terms of embodying that sense of love, then I think we become susceptible to the bends of, social media, the latest trends, whether it's hair or clothing or like you said, keeping up with the Joneses, I hate, I'll put this out, where your kids go to school. Our kids go to a certain school. I'm an educator, so I decided before my kids were born where my kids were going. But when you sometimes hear where certain kids go, people are like, oh, they take a step back. I just think that you being able to fully know yourself and love yourself makes you less susceptible to comparing yourselves to others and then thereby altering your energy, altering your decisions to align with others versus aligning with what's most central and special and lovable about you. So holding on to the goodness that you decide for yourself versus being, tossed, if you will, to and fro, like the wind based on other people's expectations, our societal norms, which are so fleeting, so fleeting.
Yeah, I can't. Sheila, I completely agree. What do you think about this piece in terms of us comparing ourselves to others?
Yeah, I think that comparing ourselves to others is one of the difficult things, of course, because we're comparing ourselves to the outer shell of someone else, not their inner truth either. So I think that the first step is to really get to know ourselves. So I talk to people sometimes about date yourself, like go take time to
Yeah.
date yourself, give yourself the same pampering, the same attention and love and getting to know yourself that you would if you were dating somebody, and taking that time to find out who we are. I also feel like people don't focus, and I think that in our society, this is, and maybe biologically, a tendency that happens for women more, where we're putting other people's, uh, we're putting ourselves on the back burner to nurture other people, And in doing that, one of the things that I talk to, if a woman, like if I'm coaching someone who has a woman who has been pregnant before, that's an easy thing. But I think we can all understand this. How do you treat yourself when you're pregnant? Because you have life inside of you, right? You have this precious life. Or how do you treat your partner, if she's pregnant? Or if if you thought of just a little life, a baby, an infant that was completely in your care while in your womb, but inside of you, and you start to take care of yourself in the way, the nurturing, the rest, the love that you give yourself in that, and you turn it onto yourself, that's a good way to grow inside of you that self-love that then can be shared with others.
I'm glad that you brought up the dating, right? And spending time with yourself and that kind of thing. Uh, I remember times in my life where, I would go to the movies, right? I loved movies, so I would just go. And over time, I kind of noticed that people were like looking at me. And I remember even one time, there was this couple that was like a couple of rows over that were like, "Oh, that guy's there by himself. Oh, that's so sad." And I was like, "No, it's not. I'm having a great time. I got my popcorn, my candy and my drink, and I'm loving this, right?" And I'm like, I don't let that stop me. Another thing, traveling, right? I mean, going out and seeing the world and traveling and that kind of deal. I think all of this is so important. Like we've created all these norms, these societal norms that we've been immersed in, where if we're not following those norms, then we're not loving ourselves. And that is completely and utterly not true. That we get to dictate how that happens, right?
Mhm.
Chanel, I'll go to you on that.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, Sheila, I really appreciated your analogy with, for those who have experienced that, and we're being sensitive as well to those who have not. But it's a really good analogy because personally, when I did quote unquote grow my babies inside of me, I was extremely intentional about everything I put in my mouth, about the rest,
Mhm.
about the meditation, about the massages. Everything was done with intention. And it's a good reminder, Sheila, to, maybe if you can't do it for yourself, you can maybe think about what that's like, or maybe if you went through that process to revisit that and re-energize yourself to put that same level of intentionality and, you know, thought and energy into making those decisions that complement loving yourself. And then Brian, just to say again, if there's any barriers that are getting in the way, it could be because you've done something where you feel guilty, or something happened to you and you haven't dealt with the unforgiveness. Sometimes that
Oof.
can just be a
Mhm.
major block in terms of letting that love light just flow. And
Right.
so I strongly recommend that we spend time, if there is any inch of unforgiveness that we are holding against ourselves or another person, it can block the flow of love. And so that's something that I really think we have to spend time attending to.
Thank you both. Woo, we on fire today. I'm loving this. Listen, we're gonna take another quick break. We got more coming up. Especially, this is another aspect I think that sometimes we don't think about, but that it's also a very very important part of loving ourselves more. And that's, who do we spend time with, right? Who's our tribe?
Mhm.
And so we're going
Mhm.
to take a quick break and we'll be back with more of Soulivity Today. the Satana products at our Go shop at go.soulivity.com.
Are you ready to take that first step towards true, unwavering inner happiness? Are you like thousands of people who have everything they need, not want, but need, and still can't seem to find happiness and fulfillment in their lives? If so, the Steps to Happiness show is for you. On my show, you will learn about the principles and practices that lead to true inner happiness. Because guess what? It isn't found in our external environment, but within ourselves instead. Together with my guests, we will explore the latest physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being practices. And together, we'll advise you on the actionable steps you can take towards a happier, more fulfilled, authentic life. So I invite you to join me each week on Soulivity TV on the Steps to Happiness show with me, Teresa Greco.
Hey, we are back with more of Soulivity today. We are talking about how, some steps we can all use to love ourselves more. And of course, back with us is Dr. Chanel and Sheila. Thanks to both of you for being here. I just kind of alluded to this at the end of our last segment. Who's our tribe, right? Our tribe has a lot to do with us defining what is love and how much of that love we can accept. Sheila, I will go to you first because I know that this is big for you.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we consciously choose who we are spending time with. And that sometimes is difficult if you're realizing that your family or your friends are not vibrating where you want to be these days. But you can start by adding in consciously, thinking about or putting yourself in positions where you're going to meet people who make you feel good about yourself, who inspire you or help bring you a new outlook to the world around you. Because our society, though we don't realize it, one of the ways that we find intimacy is by complaining and commiserating with each other. And that's really, really common. And so just open your eyes and notice if, are you going down into these areas of conversation because of the people around you? And if that's the case, start including or increasing the people who you leave inspired, you leave ready, you feel great about yourself. Who are you with the other people? Because that's the most important part. When you like yourself, when you're with other people, you're in the right circles for that time.
It's funny that you talk about misery loves company, right? I mean, that statement is so true. And that can become this level of mediocrity, right? Where people are just down in this muck. It's quote unquote warm and comfortable because everybody, you're identifying with everybody else's misery. Oh, I'm miserable too, and this kind of thing. But is that what we really want to be? Because I think a lot of times I remember even in some working situations where you have risen above that and you are like inspiring others to kind of, come on, we can charge this hill, we can meet this accomplishment. That some of those people starts taking pot shots because they don't want to move. They want to stay where they are. Right?
That's
What
right.
do you, Chanel, what do you say about all this?
Yeah, no, Brian. So you both are saying some awesome things. And I think from a standpoint of being the one that maybe you starting to grow and maybe those people, in your circle are comfortable. They're comfortable, talking about the same things. What's that saying? If you're standing around talking about other people versus are you talking about vision and, bigger ideas. But you don't also want to be the one not only if misery loves company, but are you in the one that is taking care of everyone? Are you the one that is rescuing everyone?
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
is that
Ooh.
environment conducive to, you continuing to love you, or
Ooh.
is all your love being sapped out of you because you keep yourself around people who, you know,
Ooh.
you can only give so much, right? So if you keep giving and keep giving
Mm.
and keep giving, you're depleting, depleting, depleting. So you eventually have to look at those environments and know if they're not, if you're not helping them to come up, then maybe you're not the right person, and or you've got to be intentional about getting in the environment that also produces, that self affirmation or confirms the affirmations for you and the love for you and the self acceptance for you versus you always pouring out and giving and in essence depleting yourself.
You woo. You see, I keep saying woo and all this. Where's my white handkerchief? I'm just gonna wave the white handkerchief on that
Stop
one today,
it.
because that is so true. I remember as a young boy, my grandfather, so astute, would say to me over and over and over again. He said, "Find friends and people around you who are givers, that give
Mm,
of themselves freely and honestly, and want you to succeed as much as you want them to succeed." And
mm,
that there's of course there are going to be times at which you're going to be on or they're going to be on in times of adversity, and they're going to need support, right? But it's not all the time. It's not like all the time where
right.
they are not moving. And listen, everybody, on a universal level, there's perfection, and that everybody is where they're supposed to be to learn the lessons that they're supposed to learn.
That's right.
And it's designed where that's all designed where we're all in this upward spiral, learning and growing and that kind of thing. But sometimes people can get stuck. And if you're growing and the other person is stuck, you say, "Hey, you're stuck. I'm lending you some support, but I'm gonna keep going up this hill and learning
Hmm.
and growing. You're welcome to come with me, but I'm not gonna
Hmm.
just sit here and stay." And so,
And and
yeah, go ahead.
Brian, can I also say this also is to families as well. I mean,
Oh, yes.
okay,
Oh,
so here's an
yes.
example. I don't think my sister's listening, but I call my sister. She never calls me. And when I call, I say, "How are you doing?" And I may or may not get a back, "Well, how are you doing?" So I've come to accept, where she's at. I love her dearly. But
Yeah,
gosh, yeah, I wish my sister would call me sometimes, right? But I
right.
do, I accept it. But just I'm saying that to say, even in your family
Oh, yeah.
relationships, this phenomena exists, and you do not have to quote unquote succumb to just because they're family. I mean, again, you love and support, but then you accept and you keep it moving.
Let's stay on this. Let's stay on this for a second, because I want to make sure that people understand that we are not making any delineation between family or non-family, because at the end of the day, this is about your life and how you're going to live it, and that life is meant to be good, as my dear friend Howard Caesar, hey Howard, always reminds us, and that it's up to us whether or not we bring that and do the actions and bring that about, regardless of who we're interacting with. Because again, as my grandfather would say, you know, you may, family is family, but not all family are friends, right? Meaning they're not all in your tribe, and they're not all at the same level at which you're trying to grow and prosper and move forward in your life. Sheila, all of us have dealt with this. What has been your experience in that? I want you to impart some wisdom around this part too.
around the family and friends and
Family, yeah,
shifting
yeah,
that.
yeah. Like in terms of like family who like, because it doesn't make a difference between family and friends, right? That
Mhm.
your tribe is your tribe, and either there are members of your tribe that are inspirational and supportive and that kind of thing, or there might be people that are not, and that could be
Right.
family
Well,
too.
right, exactly. I think of it as, we have biological family and we have soul family, and
Oh,
sometimes
all
they
right,
mix and sometimes they don't. And so our family is something that we may cherish. And to me, we move into the unconditional love and then the like, right? So we can unconditionally love our family. We were born into them, we have
right,
history, we have a deep understanding of what each person is going through. That doesn't mean that we like their behaviors. And so we
right,
can make our choices based on the like and the love. So if being able to remember that you love them and then also love yourself more because you're feeling better around them means to spend less time with them or to make plans of how and what you do with them or talk to them about, um, then I think that that's a really healthy thing to do. And if it's coming, we have holidays coming up, and if there's certain things about the holidays that don't bring you joy because of your family, you can even make choices with that. I had there was a period in my time in my life. Well, they have like the Friendsgiving, right, and stuff. But there
right,
were
right.
periods of time where my friends would get together for a Thanksgiving the day after, right? After the
Mm,
the one that you did with your family. So if you're not getting nurturing but want to keep traditions, you can always add on to that in
right.
ways that support you so that you can show up to those moments with your family without looking or asking for anything, but using it as an opportunity to learn about yourself more, to recognize what traits you might have taken on from them so that you can adjust the ones that you want so you can feel more love for yourself.
I love it. I love it. I brought my handkerchief out on that one too. So there's some blessings right there. We're pushing out. Listen, we're going to take another quick break, everybody. We got more of this coming up. We're gonna end with some great tips, but mainly around things like doing things that you really enjoy, that kind of perk you up. So we're going to take a really, really quick break, and we'll be back with more of Soul.
6 years ago, when I started Soulivity, my vision was to support everyone in improving their life through the discovery of their passion and purpose, so they could become the best version of themselves, to battle fear and ignorance, and create a better world today. Get inspired to live your passion and purpose. Visit Soulivity.com now.
And we're back with more of Soulivity today. We want to end this segment with guys, with some really good tips and that kind of thing. One of which is that's within this article that's actually posted on our on all our chats here, is to do things that you enjoy. I mean, what a great way of practicing self-love, right? And that I think both of you alluded to it earlier. You don't have to be with anybody to do these things. You don't need no partner. You can do them with a partner, but you don't need a partner to do these things. So Sheila, what are some of the things that you do for yourself to give yourself self-love?
Everybody probably knows these things by now, but I love to be
Not
talking to my
everybody.
birds and my animals outside. I mean, really, honestly, going in nature is my thing. Um, and I also I enjoy just going for drives and walks and hikes, but, you know, I've thought about the going. My daughter goes to the movies a lot by herself. She actually lives across the street from a small movie theater, so she can just walk over whenever she wants instead of watching TV, go watch a movie. And,
I love it.
I haven't done that, and I think 'cause I don't feel like I would enjoy it, or I haven't been inspired to, but I wanna try it just to see if I've got any limitations in my thinking, right? Like, would I
Right.
really love this? I just haven't tried it yet. So, but yeah, I kinda just tend to do the things that I put in throughout my whole day as nurturing. I'm not a spa person. I like having massages, but I don't really like all the nurturing attention of a spa or whatever. I don't
Right.
know. So
Right.
nature's my
Right.
thing.
You know, and it's funny because um, you inspire me to do more of that. I as a kid, I loved nature. Well, I still love nature, but I loved it like ecstatically. Like when we go camping and that kind of thing, I love going out and hiking and stuff like that. So thank you for that. Thank you for giving that gift to me and giving that gift to other people. You know, Chanel, what about you? What are some of the things that you do, you know, to love yourself?
Well, some of the things I do are more physical. So
Uh-huh.
you all know I'm in CrossFit minimum
Oh
3
yeah.
days a week, and I'm telling you, whew, we give pretty much everything. And now I had the benefit of going on a Saturday, last Saturday at 7 a.m. With I don't know, I'm not going to say they're an elite group, but if you come to work out at 7 a.m. on Saturday, you're in some kind of special category. And
Oh
the bar
yeah,
was
because I mean,
yeah, yeah. The bar was definitely
oof.
raised, and so I'm thinking of increasing my workout to 4 times a week, so watch out.
Uh-oh.
But CrossFit and taking care of my body give me, that's my way of loving myself. In addition, and I can't say there's like joy in that, but I do that. But the joy part comes in my dancing. And
Oh yeah,
I'm
forgot
a
about that.
competitive.
Aw.
I'm a competitive ballroom dancer and I love dancing and I love my dance community. I love my dance community because they give that love back to me. And they also have the love for dancing. So there's just love oozing out of the place. And then, of course, my heart is for Gary. So, loving
Aw.
him and being in love with him, in a loving relationship with him is also how I continue to nurture my heart, even though that's, all those
Yeah.
external, but that's where all my love machines, how they light up. And I'm so blessed and
Aw.
so fortunate for all of it. And Sheila, you said my soul commit family, you, Brian, Sheila, and
Ah,
other members of Soulivity are my soul family, the people who know this thing about love and the essence of soul.
mhm.
uh, so I'm truly blessed, truly, truly blessed.
Oh. And thank you for watching Soulivity today. We're going to end up. That was thank you. And I want to tell you, just like my wife, you both inspire me to make sure that I'm taking care of my body, my physical body.
Mhm.
You know, I'm eating right. I'm doing some type of exercise at least a few times a week. Taking walks, whatever it is, because it needs it, right? It
Yeah.
needs that nourishment and that kind of thing, and that care, that TLC. Even though while you're doing it, especially when you're working out, it may not feel like TLC. You're like, Lord,
Right.
Lord, let me just get through this. Let me just get through this. Um, I'm trying to think. Again, you guys know the stuff that I kind of love to do. This doing this work brings me so much joy. I really never thought that I was going to find something where work and joy were going to be so compatible with each other, and that when I finish these shows or I'm preparing, it's like I'm loving and being my authentic self. And because I'm aware of that and I'm executing on that, I'm acknowledging all of who I am. And it's like, ah, like a sigh of beauty. Um, I do walks. I do, like, one of the things that I love to do is go walks. I love the movie. I'm with your daughter on this one, Sheila. I love going to the show. That's what my dad would call it. Going to the show,
Yep, that's
seeing a
what we used to
movie.
call it, Brian.
Exactly,
Yeah.
going to the show.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
especially now that there's, like, even more comfortable ones where you never have to leave your seat during the show. You're like, yeah, bring me this cocktail, bring me this food. I'm gonna be here. Do not don't disturb me as I'm watching the film, but just put it right here in front of me. That kind of, oh, I love it. Love it.
I love
Love
it.
it. Love it. Love
Brian,
it.
the
Love it. Love it.
first movie that I went by myself, and the only movie that I've ever in my life attended by myself, I went to go see Gandhi, which was
Oh
almost a
man.
3-hour
Oh,
movie.
wow.
But I was determined to
Wow.
see it. And
And
that was the first time I was younger, and that
Mm,
was the first time I ever went to the movie by myself.
what a
that was a
powerful,
good one. Yeah.
powerful movie to see again alone, because there's no distractions. So you can just
Mhm.
take it
Mhm.
all in. I mean, yeah, Ben Kingsley left nothing on the
Nothing.
nothing. He left
Nothing.
nothing. He deserved every bit of that Academy Award that year. I think everybody was thinking, "Oh, we ain't got nothing. Go ahead on. We're just not even going to show up this year. Just give it to Ben, and we're going to keep it moving." Wow, great discussion today, guys. Thank you, thank you,
Absolutely,
thank you, thank
Brian.
you, thank you, thank you. This is
Yeah, thank you.
woo. Um, as always, we want to also make sure that we're empowering our audience with things that both of you are doing. Each of you have wonderful gifts that you're sharing with uh, all of us. And so just want to take a moment and let you kind of talk about some of the wonderful things that you're doing. And then we joke about, Soulivity shameless plugs, but literally they're shame free because of the work that you guys are doing. So,
Mhm.
Chanel, I know you're doing these wonderful sessions. You're empowering specifically women and other people in really creating a better life for
Mhm.
themselves, especially professionally, which is so important, right?
Yes.
Adding this
Yes,
dimension
absolutely.
of it. Can you talk a little bit about your coaching sessions?
Absolutely, Brian. This is my sweet spot of helping
Mm.
women to remove those barriers that are preventing them from fully being their authentic, loving selves, starting from the inside. So, inside out coaching, it really is what I do. So, if we need to think about how we remove those barriers of unforgiveness, feeling of self doubt, uncertainty, feeling unworthy, then we need to chat and let's get some of these barriers resolved so you can be free to love life and live free.
And they can call you at area code 313-410-9909 to schedule an appointment to have a coaching session with you, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
Sheila, you're doing something similar with your soul connection sessions. Maybe they go to one and then they go to the other. I think that might be a dual. Bring some of that soul in their professional life.
So I've been getting a lot of new people coming in for the Soul Connection sessions lately, and it's just incredible. People who have just never opened up, to have any type of reading or visions from spirit in that way, but it helps to put perspective into their life transitions and things that are going on with their relationships or their work. And I really enjoy that. So for all of you listeners, if you put the code SOUL23 into scheduling a session at SheilaApplegate.com, you'll get $44 off your first session.
I love it. I love it. Woo woo. What a great show, guys.
What a great show,
It was a
guys.
great show.
What a great show today. And thanks to all of you for sticking around and being with us today. These kind of shows are what I live for, where we're, reminding people again that life is meant to be good, that they are born of and deserve to bask in the glory of love and joy every single day. It is your birthright. So go out and live it and be it and share it with the world. Share all of who you are with the world, because this is what living is all about and thriving is all about, right? And so thanks to both of you for being here to help us do it here on Soulivity today.
Thank you both.
Before we get out of here, just want to remind everybody, please follow us on social media, where you can learn more about everything that we're doing here, especially our folks out on the West Coast. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just do a search for Soulivity or Soulivity Magazine, and you will learn more about everything that we got going on. Listen, we're running out of time, but I just want to say thank you for joining us. This is how we do it every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern on our Soulivity channels, or you can listen to us at 8 a.m. Pacific time on KMET 1490 AM radio out in Southern California. Listen, until next time, keep pursuing your dreams, and we will see you later on Soulivity Today. Bye for now.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity